The Blue Flower. Bruce Wayne was in prison in Bhutan, a country far away from his home in Gotham City in America. One day, he was waiting for breakfast with all the other prisoners. They stood in lines. After a long time, Bruce got his plate of horrible food. He took the plate and walked to a table. A very big man stood in front of him. "Give me your food," said the man. "No," Bruce said. The man hit Bruce in the face. Bruce dropped his plate and fell to the floor. When he got up, there were 7 big men in front of him. 2 of them took Bruce by the arms. He used his legs, hard, and they fell. Then, crack! At the sound of the gun, all the prisoners quickly got down on the floor. A prison officer took Bruce's arm. "You're coming with me," he said. "Why?" asked Bruce. "So I'm safe?" "No," said the officer. "So they're safe." The officer pushed Bruce into a room and closed the door with a bang. It was very dark in the room, but Bruce saw that he was not alone. There was a man in the corner. He didn't look like a prisoner. He wore good clothes. "My name is Ducard," he said. "I work for Raj Al Ghul. Do you know him?" "Is he a criminal?" Bruce asked. "He is not a criminal," said Ducard. "He is a great man with very clever ideas. He knows that you're in trouble, Mr. Wayne. He wants to help you." Ducard walked to the door and shouted. The officer came and opened it. Ducard turned to Bruce. "There is a very special flower," he said. "It grows on the mountain near here. It's blue. Find it and take it to the top of the mountain. There, you will find the answer to your question." "And what is my question?" asked Bruce. "Where am I going?" said Ducard, and he left. Why is Ducard interested in me? How does he know about me? Bruce asked himself. He sat on the hard bed and began to think about his life. He remembered that terrible day in Gotham many years ago. He is a little boy. He is playing with his friend Rachel. They are running in the garden at his home, Wayne Manor. There is an old well in the garden. Bruce climbs onto the well and laughs. "Look at me, Rachel! I'm—" Suddenly, he isn't laughing. He's shouting. "Help! Help! I'm falling!" And he falls down and down and down into the dark well. He hits the floor with a bang. "Ah! My leg!" he cries. It feels terrible. Then he hears some strange sounds. He isn't alone in the well. "Help! What is it?" He looks up and sees a cloud of terrible black things. Bats! They are flying towards him and into him. Their teeth are like knives. He thinks he's going to die. He makes himself into a ball and shouts, "Help! Help!" Then everything goes black. The next thing he remembers, he's in bed. The only person in the bedroom with him is Alfred. Alfred has always worked for the Wayne family. "You had a very bad fall, Master Bruce," says Alfred. "But you're going to be okay." Alfred waits for a moment. Then he asks, "Why do we fall, Master Bruce?" Bruce knows the answer, but he can't remember it. "I can't remember," says Bruce. "Tell me." "We fall," says Alfred with a smile, so that we can learn to get up again. Bruce started to climb the mountain. He found the blue flower easily. He climbed higher. Up and up he went. It got colder and colder. Soon, he was walking on ice. It started to snow heavily. Bruce was cold and unhappy, and very tired. I have to get to the top, he thought, but I don't know if I can. Then at last he saw a big building. He pushed open the heavy door and went in. Raj Al Ghul was sitting in a big chair. Ducard was next to him. And there was a line of ninjas with swords in their hands, ready to fight. Ready? Oh no, Bruce said. I'm so tired. One day, Ducard said to Bruce, You're not frightened of me, are you, Bruce? What are you frightened of? Bats, answered Bruce, and he told Ducard about the bats in the well. My father told me something important about the bats in the well. He said, The bats flew at you because they were frightened of you. All things are frightened of something, even scary things like bats. I didn't know that. But in the street outside, there is a man with a gun. It wasn't your fault, Bruce, said Ducard. You must always look very carefully at the things around you, Bruce, said Ducard. Crack! The ice broke, and Bruce crashed into the black water below. He learned to fight with a sword and climb tall buildings quickly and quietly. But most of all, he learned to use his ears and eyes, and he learned how to think quickly. It's time to test you, said Ducard one day. So Bruce fought all the ninjas with his sword. Bats everywhere. He remembered his life after Joe Chill killed his parents. He went from school to school, and university to university. On the way to Wayne Manor, he sees that everything is different. Things are very bad in Gotham now, Master Bruce, Alfred tells him. Your father was a great man, and one day you will be a great man too. Joe Chill will be free today, he thinks. She is an assistant district attorney, an important lawyer in Gotham now. Why are they freeing Joe Chill today? He asks. When he was in prison, he was in a room with Carmine Falcone, the famous criminal, Rachel explains. They talked, and he learned lots of things about Falcone. He's going to give that information to the police. Bruce gets out of Rachel's car and walks towards Chill. He has his hand in his pocket, on his gun. But, suddenly, a blonde woman pushes through the people. Falcone says, "Hi, Joe," she shouts. Joe Chill was dead, but Bruce didn't feel better. He pulled the dry flour into little pieces and made a small fire with it. Smell your flour now, he said to Bruce. He suddenly started to remember the worst days of his life. He was falling down the well. He was seeing his parents' blood in the street. You are frightened of these things. Where must I go with your men? He asked. We have taught you many things, said Raj Al Ghul. I won't do it, shouted Bruce. It reached the boxes of explosives in the cupboards. As Bruce ran to the door, he saw Ducard's body on the floor. He wasn't dead. Bruce pulled Ducard out of the building and into the snow. Once, he almost fell over the edge of the mountain, but Bruce saved him. Where are you going? I'm going home, said Bruce. Alfred flew to Bhutan. in the Wayne family plane and took Bruce back to Gotham. He told Bruce all about the terrible changes in Gotham. And William Earl sat in Bruce's father's chair at Wayne Enterprises, the Wayne family business in Wayne Tower. "Bruce Wayne is dead," Earl told everyone. "I'm going to save Gotham, Alfred," he said. When they arrived home at Wayne Manor, Bruce saw a small black thing high on the wall. He ran to the well in the garden and climbed down and down. He followed the black walls until they opened into a big cave. And everywhere there were bats, hundreds and hundreds of bats. The next morning, Bruce put on a new suit and went to Wayne Tower. The woman at the front desk at Wayne Enterprises tried to stop him. There were a lot of men sitting around a long table. Earl's face went white, but he quickly tried to smile. "What a surprise! A nice surprise." "I've come back to work here," said Bruce. Bruce started work in the Applied Sciences office. This was the New Ideas office, but Wayne Enterprises didn't seem to be very interested in new ideas these days. Lucius was a friend of Bruce's father before he died. "What's this?" he asked, and pointed to a black suit. Bruce took the bodysuit home and down to the cave. Soon, he thought, I will be ready. A man of the night. The night his parents died, Bruce waited a long time at the police station. One of the police officers there was very kind to him. When Batman appeared in Gordon's office, the sergeant was surprised and frightened. "What do you want?" "Don't be frightened, Sergeant Gordon," said Batman. "I know Carmine Falcone is the biggest criminal in Gotham. Why is everyone frightened of him? Why does no one stop him?" "Because," said Gordon, "he pays all the important people in Gotham." Bruce went to the river for the first time in many years. "Is that Carmine Falcone's club?" he asked. The next day at work, Lucius Fox said, "Come with me, Mr. Wayne." A few moments later, they were in the car, and Bruce was driving it faster and faster along the road. "Go slower, Mr. Wayne," shouted Lucius. "All these things are yours anyway." Later, Bruce drove the car back to Wayne Manor. "I'll call it the Batmobile," he told Alfred. He stood on top of a building near Falcone's club. He saw a police officer talking to a group of ship workers. The officer took out a small white bag and gave it to the workers. Falcone sat in his office with Dr. Crane, the boss of Arkham Asylum for the mentally ill. "Our boss is arriving very soon," said Crane. "Don't tell him," said Falcone. "Do you want to test the drugs now?" he asked. Next to a ship, there was a large box full of small bags of drugs. "Where's Falcone? He always escapes trouble." Rachel read the newspaper the next day and saw the photo of Falcone on the front page. At the police station, Sergeant Gordon's boss was very angry. "Find him fast! The police look stupid because of him." "I think he's trying to help us, sir," Gordon said. "We don't need his help," shouted his boss. "Well, I think we probably do," thought Gordon. Dr. Crane was visiting Falcone at the police station. "Tell the police I'm mentally ill," Falcone said to him. "Or I'll tell them about you and the drugs." "What do you know about me and the drugs?" he asked. I know that you test them on people in your hospital, said Falcone. Would you like to see my mask? Said Dr. Crane suddenly. He opened his bag and took out a horrible mask. How do I look? Whoosh! Suddenly, white smoke came out of his bag. Falcone tried to shout, but his nose and his mouth were on fire. Crane quickly put the mask back in his bag and shut it. I think Mr. Falcone is certainly mentally ill, he said to the officer. Earl wanted to sell Wayne Enterprises for a lot of money, but now he couldn't. His number 2 at Wayne Enterprises, Rogers, was telling him about it. There's a big, expensive machine on that ship, said Earl. A very dangerous machine that can change water into steam. The white smoke. No one must know that I am Batman, thought Bruce. Everyone must think that I am just rich and lazy. So, one evening, Bruce went to have dinner at Gotham's most expensive hotel restaurant. He took 2 beautiful women with him, one on each arm. The women wanted to swim in the hotel swimming pool. Then I will buy this hotel and open the swimming pool, said Bruce. Later, when Bruce was leaving the hotel with the 2 women, he suddenly saw Rachel. You haven't changed much, have you, Bruce? She said. It's all fun and no work for you, isn't it? Hey, Rachel. The things you do are important, Bruce, not the things you say. Do you know who it was? No, I don't, answered Gordon. Yes, perhaps it was, said Batman. It's in the Narrows, a very dangerous part of Gotham. Batman went inside and found a very big ship's box. Batman read the words on the box. Wayne Enterprises, 47B1ME. 2 people came into the building. What are the boss's orders? Asked the man in the dark suit. We keep the machine here until he's ready, said the ship worker. He hit the ship worker in the face and he fell to the floor. Crane quickly put on his mask and then he waved his arm at Batman. Whoosh! A cloud of white smoke came out of his coat. He started to see all the worst things from his life in front of his eyes. I've felt this way before, he thought. You're going to die, Batman, he said. Batman climbed slowly through the window, up the wall and onto the roof. Terrible thoughts were now in Bruce's head. He was at the show, the bats, his parents, a gun, blood in the street, and then nothing. How long have I been asleep? Bruce asked. It was the white smoke, said Bruce. The next day, Bruce showed the results to Lucius Fox. You're lucky you didn't die. Yes, I've been very lucky, said Bruce. Can you make an antidote? I think so, said Fox, but it won't be easy. Do you know what Wayne Enterprises 47B1ME is? No, I don't, said Fox. Will Falcone go to prison this time? He asked her. Batman came to see me, Miss Dawes, said Gordon. We're working with a man in a mask, Sergeant Gordon. I don't think so, said Gordon. What do you want, Bruce? Rachel asked angrily. I want to invite you to a party tonight, he said. Where's the party? It's at home, at Wayne Manor, he said. And I don't think I can come to your party tonight. Raj Al Ghul is dead. Falcone is just going to prison when he suddenly becomes mentally ill, said Rachel. Isn't that a little strange, Dr. Crane? Would you like to see Falcone, Miss Dawes? Then you'll be able to decide for yourself, said Crane. Mask! 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 He was saying. You've given him drugs, said Rachel. The police doctor must see him and do some blood tests, said Rachel. They went down some stairs and came to a door. There were hundreds of small blue bags on the tables. Suddenly, a horrible masked man appeared next to her, and then a cloud of white smoke. Rachel lay on a table. "Who knows you're here?" shouted Crane. "What do we do now?" asked one of the men. "You want the police here?" asked the other man. Suddenly, a black thing flew at them and hit the two men. Where was Crane? He heard a sound behind him and turned. Whoosh! Crane's body dropped to the floor. "Who are you working for?" shouted Batman. "Who's your boss?" Ra's al Ghul, said Crane. Ra's al Ghul is dead, Crane, said Batman. Who are you really working for? Crane's eyes closed. Mask. Drugs. Smoke. Water. Steam. There was a loud voice outside. Sergeant Gordon went into the building to find Batman. Suddenly, he felt an arm around him, and he was flying up and up. Crane gave her a dangerous drug, said Batman. How will you escape? Asked Gordon. I'm going to call for help, said Batman. He pushed something on his shoe. It made a very high sound. A big, black cloud started to grow in the sky above Gotham. Bats! Thousands of bats! They flew all around Bruce and Rachel. The bats hid Batman and Rachel until they reached the Batmobile. When they arrived, Bruce looked at Rachel carefully. Gordon looked through the door and saw the river below. There were 5 or 6 large bottles next to the door. They've used the river for something, said Gordon. But what? He looked at the bottles. I want to speak to someone at the water office, he shouted. Why did you bring me here? You were very ill, he said. Why did you save my life? She asked. The antidote to this killer drug, said Batman. He can use the other bottle to make some more of the antidote for everyone. A surprise guest. In the empty workroom, Sergeant Gordon was talking on the phone. Someone has put a dangerous drug into the city's water, Gordon said. Well, we test the water every day, answered the man from the water office, and today's results seem fine. Perhaps it's safe to drink, but dangerous to smell, said Gordon. That's possible, said the waterman. When he finished his phone call, Gordon saw the large ship's box. Oh, it's bigger than a car, said an officer. What does it say on it? Wayne Enterprises, 47B1ME, Gordon read. What does it do? Asked an officer. Okay? Bruce left the cave and went up into the house. Everyone was having a great time at his birthday party. When he appeared, they all sang, Happy Birthday to You. Bruce walked around, saying hello to his guests. So, you could put a dangerous drug in the water, he said, and then you could change the water into steam and kill everyone in the city. Oh, no. Bruce went quietly across the room towards the door. I can't stop now, Mrs. Delane, said Bruce. "I have to—" But then he looked at the man with Mrs. Delane. "You're not Raj Al Ghul," Bruce said to the man. "No, you're right, Bruce," said a voice behind him. "He isn't Raj Al Ghul," said Ducard. "And you, Bruce, were my best student until you escaped." Bruce looked around the room and saw that he didn't know some of the people there. "You just want some free food and drink." The guests were very upset and angry. "They will die very soon anyway," he said. "So was Crane working for you?" asked Bruce. "When Gotham dies, people everywhere will be frightened. There will be fighting and killing all over the world." Raj Al Ghul shouted an order to his men. "Go ahead!" The ninjas started to set fire to the furniture. Some kilometers away, at Arkham Asylum, 4 police officers were standing around the machine. "What did Gordon say? No one must go near it," one of them said. They turned on the machine and then put explosives along the wall. They weren't following Sergeant Gordon's orders. At the same time, high above the city, a train driver looked at his watch. The same thing was happening on buses and trains all over the city. 4 police officers were pushing the machine outside. At the water office, the workers were looking at a map of Gotham City. "Have you come to kill me?" Bruce asked Raj. "Will you join us?" "Never," said Bruce. "Then fight me," said Raj, "and die with Gotham." They fought and fought, until finally Bruce stood over Raj with his sword above Raj's head. "You taught me very well, Raj," he said. "Yes, I did," said Raj. "But you always forget to look very carefully at the things around you." Crash. "Master Bruce! Master Bruce, get up!" Bruce opened his eyes. Bruce pushed and pushed, and finally Alfred moved the piece of roof to one side. "What have I done? Wayne Manor is on fire, and I can't help Gotham." "We fall," said Bruce, "so that we can learn to get up again. I must go." He changed into his batsuit and took off in the Batmobile. The criminals from Arkham Asylum were running everywhere. Some men in masks started to move a large machine onto it. Rachel gave Gordon the antidote, and he slowly started to feel better. The people from the asylum were shouting and coming nearer. Suddenly, they started running towards Rachel and Gordon. Batman took Rachel in his arms and climbed up to the roof with her, above the dangerous cloud. From the roof, Rachel and Batman could see all of Gotham. "They were putting a large machine onto the train," said Rachel. "The railway line runs exactly over the river next to Wayne Tower. He's going to turn the city's water into steam. The things I do are important, not the things I say." On. Bang! 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 People inside the train fired guns through the roof. The ninjas in the last car of the train looked out of the window. Batman was still there. He was hanging from a long line, flying from side to side under the train. On the street below the train, there was a ninja in the back of a green car. He got into the last car and finished the ninjas there. Batman quickly moved to the front edge of the train. Raj lifted his sword over Batman's head. Batman held it and broke it in 2. The train was moving nearer and nearer to the center of Gotham. He reached out of the front of the train and threw Raj Al Ghul's sword under the wheels. Raj threw himself onto Batman and put his hands over his mouth and nose. "Now you're really frightened, aren't you?" said Raj. He suddenly pushed hard against Raj and flew out of the train and into the sky. It came off the railway line and fell down and down, and then crash! It landed in the car park in front of Wayne Tower and exploded into a ball of fire. Soon, all the bad guys were in prison or out of a job. The people of Gotham began to build their great city again. William Earl walked into his office the day after the train crash. "What are you doing in my office?" he asked. "It's my office now," said Fox happily. They were slowly and carefully building a new house, exactly like the old one. "Things were never the same after that," he said. "You're a great man, Bruce," she said. "There's no place for me between Batman and Bruce Wayne," she said. "I don't have to be Batman," he said.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel to see the latest videos. Thank you.